Scola.
Two short clips right here that just kind of made me laugh. Keanu was going, same video. Thank you. Keanu was going over the warrant and whatnot, and she has no idea what dissemination means. I thought that was funny, so we're going to laugh at it for a second. Okay.
Offense, 2 counts, non-consensual. I don't know what of private images. Private images.
That was it on that one. I just had to call her out on it because I thought it was funny.
Oh, hello.
There we go.
Hi, ladies.
Good morning.
Hello.
Big fan. I know. Especially a big fan. Listen early. I listen often. Number 1, you're both beautiful. Number 2, why do you both hate me?
I don't hate you, Kiki. We have been paneled up like 8 times, but I don't know if you just don't remember me or what. I don't say a lot, but we don't hate you.
I know you're well. I love your opinions. I love what you think. What you think is going on. That's perfectly fine. I take it on the chin. I came on to tell you that sometimes I think you take what I say out a little bit out of context. Yes, I didn't know what dissemination meant.
That's
never heard
cute.
the word before. Heard the word before. But also, I don't take I think revenge porn is like fucking awful. I felt disgusted by that with Aaron. I thought that was a disgusting thing to do. I watched it happen. I was sitting in our apartment. I was sitting in the background watching it happen. And I was going, what a fucking piece of shit. But there's layers to this. You guys have to remember that Aaron called us crying, trying to get us on his side before we had any idea what was going on.
Sure.
And we weren't hearing from April. We didn't know what was happening. And the toe only gives you a bit of truth at a time. So it's been really very difficult to decipher. All right. You're sitting on his show trying to be a friend to him, but it feels wrong because I don't want to shit on April. In fact, I have been very defensive of her. You've never heard me calling her fucking mega mind ever. I still probably defend her more than I should. Do you know what I mean? I have a hard time though. We were all friends. All 4 of us were friends, not just me and April, not just Aaron and Gino. So it's been really difficult to decipher. But when Gino figured out and I figured out sort of like, all right, this guy something is fucking wrong with him and we don't want anything to do with this anymore. It was one thing after another. So, yeah.
Can I ask, so why did you stay as long as you did? Because he was, from the get-go, from the jump, he was talking mad shit about your friend. And that's the one thing that we just didn't I can understand it being hard because it's just because my perception, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, is that another reason why you probably would want to stay is because he was your link to April still. Because she wasn't talking to you at the time.
From what he was telling us, he calls us crying and is like, can you just sit on the show for a while? I didn't know it was going to become like an April shit fest. And if you really look back, I was always very kind about her. Rakeda, I was mean about. Of course, I was mean about him. And I was disappointed. And I only had what Aaron was chirping at us to go off of because I hadn't heard from April. Do you know what I mean? Even though how many times I would text her, and I was disappointed that she would still be in that situation with the Rakedas. And I wasn't angry with her, but I didn't have anything to go off other than what Aaron was saying. And if you really look back at it, I was not trying to shit on April. He would do it. And then, yes, trying to be a friend to him as well. Guys, I miss her today. That's the thing. Yeah. Gino would get the text that like, yeah, well, I didn't get cucked out of my life. And Gino would just never answer. Then we had a group text we would very rarely answer. And then I would get the text like, man, I'm really missing April today. And I'm like, it's also manipulative and confusing and hard to decipher. So when I find, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry. You've also made a comment like later on after some of this since the turn. That you and Gino picked up on it early, you realized it, and so for us it's confusing.
Picked up on it, but not picked up on it before I did. He was aggravated with it before I was. I'm like,
well,
you know, he got cucked out of his life. I guess he's just trying to cope with it by trying to be the cool guy. Gino's like, no, he's fucking enjoying this way too much.
Well, and I think that's where the confusion comes in, because it's like, okay, you've picked on it whenever it was. Why put yourself in the position to where it would be something where you would have to be there, you know, and going like, you know, this is awkward. Like, let me just try to get through this part and let him say his piece, even though he's being, you know, disgusting to my friend. Like, why even put yourself in that position? We know he wasn't paying you well, so that wasn't it. I don't know. I would have been like, I'm gone. Like, I am not going to do this.
I mean,
and
like,
the chances
you,
of April, like the chances of April contacting me, just knowing that like, I don't want anything to do with it and I don't want to touch it. And I'm not going to be seen next to him while he's saying these things about my friend and his then wife at the time. I don't know. If I'm April and I'm looking at it, I would have been like, I'm not talking to her.
I
like,
totally,
you know.
and I apologized to her for it. Once I heard from her and she like kind of confirmed what had come out about him. It's more complicated than that, because the stuff Aaron would text me would be like very mopey, very sad, you know, very, you know, the pain comes and goes. Like, if you went back through the text and I'd be like, oh my God. So he framed it like, you're just doing me a real big favor by sitting on the show. And then you'd get on the show and every time it's like, okay, here's a April shit fest. I don't mind shitting on Ricada. That's fine. Don't mind that.
Well, that's what I mean. For me, it would have taken one time.
Yeah. I mean,
it would have taken one time
enough.
for me, and I would have been like, okay, I'm out of here. And I'm not, you know, and we're just watching, Kiki. I'm not like trying to personally judge you. It's just a matter of like, why?
How dare you? I'm just kidding.
I know. No, it's like, why do you hate me? We don't get it. We don't hate you, Kiki.
I know.
I just don't understand some of your decisions.
I've said this from the beginning. Aaron put us in a very, very funny position. A very funny fucking position. And we were friends. All four of us became friends at the same time. We're not hearing from her. We only have him in our ear. He's crying to us. We were trying to do him a favor. And then we would kind of, yes. And I apologized to her for that, for even sitting on his show. I have wholeheartedly apologized. That was a terrible thing to do. But I was trying at the time to help not one friend, I was trying to help one friend when I wasn't hearing from another. And it took me like a bonk in the head or something to realize, yeah, fuck this guy. Jesus Christ.
What was that final straw then? Because I mean, I know that there could be little things that build up, but then what was the final thing that you're just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm done. I can't do it anymore.
Like I said, people call it like my turn on Aaron show. I just call it like I see it. We've always known he's an unfunny, unself-aware douche, but we at least thought he was like a good person. But when that came out about him, him abusing April, I'm very triggered by that. And I didn't like him saying I had a conversation with Kiki. He basically put words in my mouth and made it seem like I was his domestic abuse security blanket. Not okay with me. And when I finally heard from April, and I'm not going to ever read what she said one thing and I knew all I needed to know. That's when I said, I am done with this man. Absolutely not. And when I did the episode where I explained all of that, I happened to say, and by the way, don't send a nude photo of Kayla to Gino. In no world is that okay. What's wrong with you? They saw that. And again, yes, I said it was drastic, but because it wasn't like spread out all over the internet or something, but it's well within their right to do. I'm glad, because he needs to take some responsibility. Doesn't he always preach? You need to walk right in there and admit what you've done. And hopefully he has, but he did do that. And it was fucking gross. So
have you ever gone back and watched when he came on to Simpcast right after the arrests and everything?
I haven't gone back and watched it.
You should, because I watched your body language when he came on and he was talking about stuff. And you should, and I honestly, because I have heard you talk before about how you felt manipulated. And that interview was the start of him manipulating you like live. And you can see it happening. So I would suggest go back and look at it, because you can even tell how uncomfortable you were to begin with. And then he starts talking these things and like everyone's just like, oh, Aaron, because he, from the beginning, from the jump, he tried to make himself seem like he was the good guy. He was the hero. He had all this bravado. He was, what do they call it? Manchismo or whatever it's called.
Oh, dissemination. Yeah. It's manchismo. He is manchismo.
I just don't.
Yes, it's not.
That's what it. That's the word. Yeah, because he is a cheese ball. Like
he is a fucking cheese ball. Yes, but going back to that. He called us. Me and Gino had they were a groomsman and a bridesmaid in our wedding. All of a sudden, we get a call from Aaron. What the internet's been saying is true. April's addicted to blow, and it looks like we're getting a divorce. Could you guys sit on the show for a while? We were like, what? I mean, so it's been a manipulation from the start, like trying to get to us. And hindsight is 2020. I always come on and, admit my mistakes. But if you're in it, it's very easy to sit here, you two lovely, gorgeous, beautiful women, and say, well, this is what I would have done, or this is what, she should have done this. But when you're in it, these are two friends of ours that we had a blast with. And we handled it the best way that we could. And
I think at least I'll speak for myself, Jackie, but I see it based on the things that you've said. Because from jump, it's like you wanted April at your wedding and felt obligated to sort of invite Aaron because, they were a couple at the time, whatever. So that's sort of like, that's a tell. And then it's like, I think even the first little bit, honestly, it's sort of like your friend picker's broken to a degree, because it's like, enough about him. I'm sure. I mean, you've met him. I don't know how long it would take me. It didn't take me long when I first saw him to be like, whoa, now. So that's just not somebody that I would want to associate with. And especially when this started to go downhill quickly, it also makes me wonder, like, okay, if you were this close to these people to where you felt obligated to go on his show, you didn't know they were doing any of this. So it's like, or the DV stuff, like if and that's different. Like maybe she didn't feel comfortable telling you, but I'm just saying there was a lot going on.
Yeah, I heard.
But even with the swinging and that, because she was distant from you, right? There was a time where she wasn't really contacting you and stuff like that. That would be enough of like I wonder what's going on for when this did happen, for me to be like, whoop, okay, good luck with your show. I'm going to be over here. So it's just based on some of the things you've said, as far as like along the lines, the little things that you picked out about Aaron that made you uncomfortable. So that's why I'm questioning, like, well, then why did she ever, like, what is she getting out of it?
Well, imagine that you are friends with two people, okay, in your real life, all right? Yes, people can say all the fuck they want, that we met them twice. We spent time with them, liked them, had a blast. From what April told me, I mean, the things that she told me about Aaron in confidence, it was never DV, anything like that, but they had some issues. And I had a sense that Aaron was a bit of a misogynist, but he was always nice. I didn't think that they had anywhere near the issue. So imagine, but in your real life, not just that you're watching these people, imagine your real life. Relationships are very fucking complicated. And yes, we're all public people, and April doesn't want to be a public person anymore, but like, you can, from an outsider looking in, it seems like, well, this is what I would have done, or yada, yada, yada. But imagine people that you knew in your real life, spent time with, asked to be in your wedding. It's a lot of shades of gray there. So if you want to act like, well, this is what I would have done it here, or this is how I would have reacted, you're real life friends with these people and you're trying to be supportive, even though they're acting like complete and total lunatics live on the air. Do you know what I mean? It's not as easy as that.
I
least
just
not
think
for
most
me.
people can watch like one of his shows and gather like what he's about enough to want to stay away from him. Like I get you being friends with April, like I get that, but it's always felt like just an obligation because he's just around. He's like the third wheel or whatever, no matter what the situation is. So it's like
between me, him, and Gino, yeah, he's the third wheel there, and then in his cucked out life, he's the third wheel there. He can't catch a break. Another break for the toe. No, he is like
that's why
that,
it would be difficult for me and to be friends with him in real life because I would not be able to stand it. I get like going out with April and whatever, y'all doing your thing on the side, but that's why it's confusing, I think, for us to be like, she had to know this guy, like what he's about. Go ahead, Jackie.
Like, and like them being so far away, I would think it'd be easier just to cut it off at the head and just be like, okay, because I mean, what's he gonna do? Like, he's not gonna come and see you at the grocery store or anything like that, you know. So I mean, but I'm glad that we are able to talk to you and get these answers because we've had these questions and I don't know you. This is my first time meeting you. Hello,
big fan.
And so, you know, it's good to hear because we always have questions. So
no, I'm glad. I didn't want to derail your show. It's very easy to pick out one segment of a clip and go, this is what I would have done. But again, I got these messages from Aaron that are very emotional. Like, it's been hard today, or just watching the kids out in the yard and they'll never know why April left, or, you know, but I get messages and here's one thing about, so he's like trying to pull at my heartstrings and manipulate me that way. So that's not what you see from behind the scenes. And if I make off color, I'm sorry, I'm a comic, and sometimes not every joke hits. And looking back, a lot of the jokes that were made on his show, I was just trying to, you know, lighten up the mood about a very dark situation. And I have apologized. And again, I don't think I've made too many about April because I didn't like when he did that. But behind the scenes, Aaron was a lot of manipulative text messages to me about how sad and how hard this is for him, and call it I'm stupid or call it I have no backbone, but it takes me a minute to wake up to people. I'm susceptible to manipulative relationships. I know that about myself. I am.
That worries me for you because you're like 30.
I'm 31. But yeah, I've been through, I mean, the ringer with abusive relationships and the like, and I am susceptible to manipulative relationships. I believe you are especially like a more person where like no bullshit, no muss, no fuss. I'm more like, let's see, I don't know. I feel bad for everyone. So that's why sometimes it's difficult for me. And that's just who I am. I'm a public person, but I'm just deciphering the waters of this insanity the best way that I can and just trying to tell the truth about it and not be disingenuous. So
maybe I've just been burnt by too many people or far more than you have. But for me, it's more like you have to, no matter who it is, you know, sort of, instead of it going from like, I 100%, you know, trust this person and then sort of knocking it down as they screw you over, you've got to go at it like, you know, assuming the worst. And it's sad that it's like that. And I don't like that. You got to have a black heart, but you've got to protect yourself. You have to.
You two
because
ladies,
you don't want to end up
just this situation in general. You two ladies have shit on me, put me through the ringer, and I still watch. And I was like, please let me on. I'm like, I would love to speak to these ladies that have been so evil about me. But again,
no, I don't, maybe it's just me, but I can't wrap my head around some of the choices that were made. And I can't like being the age that you are, like being that easily misled. And it's just like, wait, come on, man. You got to protect yourself because
it's almost as if I know what's going on, but I don't want to believe it. And I'm trying to just, let's see if we can But, you know,
lots of times, though, you have the ability to take yourself out of that situation. And that's where you protect yourself. Because if it's something where you're just not sure and I just don't know, get out of it before you have an opportunity to screw up.
Therapy.
Well,
can we do this every week?
Hour, Kiki. I'm going to bill you. I'll bill you after this.
you so much. Like, honestly, like, I really feel like we made a breakthrough. Oh my God.
No, but the thing is, it's like, I get it too, because but I know this a lot about myself, is that I can be very naive and stuff with people, and I can be very trusting with people. And I understand some of where you're coming from with your whole, like, feeling like with Aaron, like, manipulating you to, like, or like giving you his sob story to stay and things like that, and just, like, not knowing what to do. I've had the same similar, not the same, like, absolute same, but I've had similar situations with, like, friends and stuff, and then ended up getting burned. So I get it and stuff, but, like, I think it's just, like, for me, it's like, but they're so far away that it's just easy to just be like, okay, I'm going to change my number, going to block you or something like that, and just like be done with it.
I have a bleeding heart. God, even just, and honestly, we did not answer him more than I've not ignored any text in my life. Somehow, I don't know why I have this fucking bleeding heart, but just somebody feeling bad or ignored just fucking kills me. But it took me a lot of waking up to go, he's a piece of fucking shit. He literally is. So now I'm just like, fuck him. He gets everything he deserves. I hope. I know I said it was drastic that the Recadas did that. Do I think it has something to do with, like, let's get this guy on this because of what's going on with us? Well, of course, right? Of course it's that. I mean, we got to call it what it is. They, you know, I mean, that's what it is. But also, that was a disgusting fucking thing for him to do. And I can't imagine how they're feeling watching him take a victory lap after, if they're guilty, he's guilty. Molly boy. Yeah, he brought his kids there to the alleged drug den. He is just as guilty as they are, if, in my opinion. So, like,
this move though is going to pull Discovery out, and it's going to screw all of them, because, you know, to me it was sort of a thing where Nick was like, all right, well, here we are. It's worth it to me to press charges against him for the discovery of our signal messages and whatever else communication they had on whatever other app comes out, because, I mean, yes, it's very public right now, but they've been able to keep a lot of things, you know, to themselves, other than what Aaron has run around saying, which you take with a grain of salt, because you never know, you know, word for word what is, or sentence for sentence what's true. But this is going to open up a whole new problem for them, because if the discovery comes out, it's going to be leaked online. Everybody's going to know all the intimate details.
Discovery is, you mean like...
So, like, all the evidence and stuff that that prosecutors and stuff have collected to, like, use as evidence against
That's what
whatever party.
Are y'all in the law field?
No,
is like,
no,
no.
That was
just really nosy and like to learn things. Like,
yeah, we just like to learn. But no, that was what the paper was that I showed a few minutes ago, was saying that the court, I guess, had told Aaron, don't delete anything. You're not allowed. Like, it's the preservation of evidence. Yeah. So that tells me that they may come and say, hey, here's the discovery, because you have to give that to the defendant so they have an opportunity to know what you're getting, you know, what you're being charged with, so they can properly defend themselves. But when it comes to discovery, both parties get it. So all it's going to take with these people leaking these documents that we go over, are, you know, just having it in their possession. They're going to leak it, and it'll have all of their, you know, the private messages and whatever else may come with that. But
wow. And you know what? Then listen, the chicken's got to come home to roost for the all of them then. But it can't just not be Aaron. Aaron is like, he's just as fucking guilty. And
for sure,
I don't know what the fuck he was fucking thinking. What an idiot. He could have just shut his mouth. He's like, I left. But, you know, yeah, he's a monster. He's like probably the biggest one, to be honest with you. But
for sure.
I won't derail your show any longer. It was really nice talking to you, ladies. Unless you have any other, go back to shit talking me. You guys are lovely and big fan. Yeah. Nice meeting you. Goodbye.
All right, bye.
Yeah, like I said, Kiki doesn't realize I've been paneled up with her like 7 or 8 times. It's so funny to me. It's like, and maybe I am that forgettable, because lots of times when I go on there, I'm just like over here in the corner. I don't crochet like you do, Jackie, but I'm just,
I know.
Like,
I'll teach you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't say a lot on some of those panels, but
I think we've got I don't know.
Are you?
All right, let me
I saw
pull
it.
this.
I'm still scrolling.
Okay.
It's way okay. Here we
So-
go. Here we go. Beloved chatter. Getting tricked by Aaron would make me question my every choice in life. I've never seen a more obviously deceptive, psychopathic narcissist. I agree. And that's what I was trying to say. She talked over me a lot, so I had to sort of barrel roll or bulldoze through it. Barrel roll's not right. Bulldoze through it.
No.
But yeah, man, it's like, come on, how many times do you need to like if the excuse is like, I'm just naive and I just don't know and I just want to love everybody, and okay, but like at age 13 when people are, you know, it just seems like you're too old to live your life that way. And it's something where it's like she has said a couple of times, like I have, you know, Gino and I started figuring things out, but we stayed in there and because we felt bad for him. And I'm like, well, if you figured things out, you knew that probably shouldn't be where you need to be. And he's literally, you know, shit talking April on the show, and that's your friend. Like, why keep doing it? Like, okay, then you're no longer naive, right? Like, then you've learned about him enough to be like, this is not where I need to be. But yet you continued for weeks. So it's like, okay, is it the fact that you're naive or is it something else? And I'll continue to say that because it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me.
We have this come in. It says, if you come from a life of abuse, then your boundaries either don't exist or are blurred. I forgive Kiki, even though I don't need to. She sees now.
Well, okay.
Yeah, and I get that with her saying like hindsight is 20/20 and things like that. But like I said, you know, with them being that far away too. But
well, and one more thing on that, and we can move on. But to the point of Anonymous just now, she's not and I don't know what all abuse she's been through other than what she just said. But you know, there's a lot of women that are out here that get abused that aren't naive, or you know, usually it's something. Well, I shouldn't even say that, but I don't know. I just think that that's another sort of cop out. It just is for me, because usually if you go through any kind of abuse or trauma, you know, especially dealing with women too, though, you build up a wall really quick to try to protect yourself. It's usually the opposite. It's usually like, you got me once, you know, and you build a wall to protect yourself when it's from any other kind of trauma or abuse or pain. Like, you are more, I don't know. I just think you're more aware of the people around you when you deal with things like that. And so for me, it would be the opposite. I don't know. I don't understand being 30, whatever, 31 or whatever it is that she is, and just being that naive. And I also don't, I don't buy that being the excuse for why it continued. It's like, all right, well, you said that you knew early on, so why keep doing it? You can't just be like, well, I was just naive, and then I figured it out, but I was just naive. Like, I don't know. Sorry.
But I will say, playing devil's advocate here, because I'm one of those people that, though, too, will continue to do things to like help other people out, even though that I don't want to do it. So there could be like an obligation type feeling, though, too.
And that's honorable, right?
And I get that, and it could be a difficult situation, but I'll say it again. Like I said, it's easier if the person is further away, because then you don't have to see them on a daily basis. So I get it. And I appreciate her saying like, you know, hindsight's 20/20 or whatever. And just like moving on.
That was the confusion. He is far away. Why keep getting up at 5 a.m. or whatever to get on the show when you know it's what it's going to be? But Beloved Chatter said, let's not give up on Keanu. She's redeemable. Aaron isn't. I agree. And it's,
yes,
I want to chalk it all up to her just being naive and wanting, you can tell she just wants to get along. You know, what's the saying? Get along to get along.
No, let me look it up.
Something like that. Y'all know the analogy, but I get that. And that's honorable. It's like, oh, that's sweet. Like, but at some point in your life, especially when you're in your 30s and so forth, you've got to be able to protect yourself, and you've got to, I think any and everybody that's in our chat and anybody that sees this would be like, I'll go along to get along. Thank you, Adam. I think it's something where you could watch Aaron one time and be like, this guy is completely insufferable. So for me, my brain just cannot wrap itself around like purposely going on his show, especially after all of this stuff started, and that's supposed to be my friend. I just don't get it. If she felt obligated, Cole, it's, you know. But yes, Keanu, we want you to put on some armor and not be so naive.
Hit the like button.
And be like, hey, yeah.
Okay, fuck you, Doom.
Goodbye. I'll do it like that show. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Shut up, Doom. And don't you dare clip this, you son of a bitch.
I'd be careful about that Doom guy.
Doom's a weirdo.
By the way, if you listen to anything that Doom guy says, you're probably listening to a mentally retarded person.
Doom, you're gone again. That's it. I'm so sick of you anyway.